let me start with just creating these profiles that'll create the building form. What we're going to do is going to be pretty much here in Dynamo. Let's kind of just hide that for a second and kind of show you what's up. So here you can sort of see that we have a little five-sided form that has a little bit of twist to it. You might be able to spot, just looking at this, that I seem to be defining it with three different profiles, a profile at the bottom, in the middle, and at the top. Okay, and that's basically the logic here. We can define profiles however we want to. Regular polygons are really easy to define. If you have something that's a little bit more of an unusual shape, it may take a little work to, kind of define a path using Dynamo, but we got to find a way to describe the geometry mathematically. Okay, and once we do that, we can loft them together. So here's the way it's going to work. I'm going to define a base profile. Okay, my base profile is going to start with just a circle. Okay, at a center point. It's going to be the origin. Okay, it's going to have some sort of radius. That'll be the radius of the base. And then I'm going to make a regular polygon that has some number of sides. So for this, for my number of sides, if I want a five-sided polygon, I could work with that. I should actually make that a integer slider. You see it just turned up to a 6. There's a 7, there's a 4, a 3. Now, what I want you to notice about this is, as I'm dragging that slider along, it's responding pretty quickly. It's actually kind of doing what we want very, very nicely, because just computing the math is actually pretty easy. Okay, in terms of the bottom radius, which is up here, okay, it's about 47 right now. So again, I can make it skinny. I can make it very big at the bottom. Okay, but notice how dynamic that is. You're just getting a sense of really what's happening with the profile and the tower pretty quickly. Okay, in a similar sort of way, what I did was created a second polygon and a third polygon. Although what I did was I did a little translation. Okay, translating, just kind of pushing it up a set height. So if I want the middle profile to be at 100, I could leave it over here. That's what I'll consider to be a constant. If I want it to be an input variable, I tend to put it over in the pink zone, as in something that I'm willing to flex. Okay, so I have some height over here. I'm just going to treat that as a constant. Let me say like 150. So again, you're going to have to think about really what you consider to be your constants are and what do you consider your variables to be, because you don't want to consider everything all at once. I'll put 120 back in there. Oops, now that really blew it out of the water. Okay, because the order of the profiles, the middle profile was at 1500, the top profile is like at 200. So it was not going to be able to create the loft. Okay, we could fix that. So I have this profile. I'm going to basically translate it up. So and I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to give it around the z-axis, some sort of rotation. And again, I'm putting that in here as just some sort of a rotation number. So I can kind of shift that around. Same way over the top profile. So this basic notion of three different profiles and then lofting them together is actually not too awfully bad. You sort of figure out what are really constants that you don't want to change. You figure out things that you want to have as variables. But in the end, what you do is you just create a list of the different profiles. And you can make a solid by loft or a surface by loft. Okay. The surface is going to be good for doing the surface area. The solid's going to be good for doing the volume. Okay, so let's just pause there for a second. Sort of making sense? Great. Okay, if you can define things this way, again, the big advantage is it's very, very quick. Okay, in terms of doing that. Okay, so it all starts with just this big node that's going to go through and, define like the profile or define the building form. Okay, and that point is going to be the equivalent of what you did in the Revit conceptual masses. It's just kind of the same thing. Now, for step 2, I'm going to say, okay, that looks fine. Let's go ahead and actually create some evaluators. And let's take a look at the evaluators. So we created that form. I have just a couple of evaluators in here per the assignment. I have the volume, and if I have a solid, I can just say solid volume, and it'll report the volume out. Okay, so that's pretty easy. Okay, no hassle there. Next up, I have the loft. And for that, I can say surface area. Okay, and we can talk about whether the roof area and the base area should be included or just the skin area. Again, it's just a decision as you go through and set up your evaluation about how we want to include, but we have the surface area. So that's okay. So the nice thing is in this, as again, I change this to a 7-sided polygon. Everyone loves a 7-sided polygon. Okay, again, all these numbers are updating very, very rapidly. Okay, so no hassle, the math can handle that.